Hey everybody, this is Dave coming to you from the Gaming Cave. Today I thought I'd do my after action review of Atlantic Sentinels. I keep doing that. Atlantic Sentinels. North Atlantic Convoy Escort, 1942 to 43. Game designed by Gregory M. Smith and published by Compass Games. Okay, so if you've been watching my channel here, you would have seen 3 or 4 videos of the gameplay, so I think I've gone far enough to show you the mechanics of the game, maybe get you interested in whether you want to purchase it or not if you haven't already, or if you have, getting it out of the box and giving it a try. For me, it's a good game to me if you like the Gregory M. Smith games. It follows his model, especially for his submarine games, to the T. Even Western Front Ace a little bit. It has that same flavor where you move into the boxes, roll to see what happens. If nothing happens, you move to the next box, then you get back. This one is very much like the submarine games, the Hunters, Hunted, and I'm going to turn my back on you a little bit. It is, I'm looking for it. Here it is, Silent Victory. That's the one I've played. I haven't played the Hunters or Hunted them, but I did Silent Victory. And it very much is like that because you're moving from your port, you move out. In this case, you're going across the Atlantic, and then you get there, then you turn around and come back. I was in the early part of the war, so I didn't have air cover yet, so I didn't get to that point. As you noticed in the videos, the game can get a little bit long if you hit wolf packs, or if you're unlucky enough to hit rolls where you got to encounter U-boats, because then you got to go through the whole setup and the plane against that. So it can take a little more time. If you get lucky and you don't hit any encounters, then you zip across the ocean, you get your convoy in, you turn around and you come back, and then you refit again, trying hopefully to hopefully to get some improvements early on. And I just did a random roll, and I ended up with the Canadians, and they didn't get as much radar help or some of that. So there are a few little nuances to the game that you have to pay attention to, and if you watch the videos and see some of the comments, you'll see where I missed a few things, but that's okay. The gameplay is still, it's very much, once you kind of get onto it, you don't even need your play cards anymore for the sequence of events. So not a long rule book. Fairly well organized, although there's sometimes I wish they would put an index in them, and they did, a rules index, and there I go. I wish they'd put an index. Hey, there it is on the last page. Way to go, Dave. So couple times I needed that, and I was like, you flip the pages and you miss it, and then you're like, man, I'm trying to find that rule. But other than that, like I said, the game plays pretty well. Now, for me, if you put one of the sub games down and this game down, I'm going to take the submarine game, because in this game, you're overseeing a escort convoy, right? So you got 5, 6, 7 ships that you're dealing with. So I lost one, and it was kind of like, oh well. When you're in the submarine, it's you and your crew against these escorts and trying to sink ships. And to me, it became more personal because you're trying to develop individuals in your submarine. Same thing with like Western Front Ace. It's more personal because you're flying, you have a pilot, you're trying to get him to become an ace, you're trying to get him to survive. Same thing with submarines, you're trying to survive there. Even in his games, his Tank Ace games, those are the same thing. But with this game, I didn't get that sense of, oh my God, I'm gonna die. my sub's going to get sunk or my ship's going to get sunk and I'm going to lose the game. It doesn't. It just, you hope you get a replacement, you redistribute your destroyers, and you try to keep fighting your way through it. So for me, the personal edge of it wasn't there. Doesn't mean the game's not fun. It just, you need to know that this isn't quite the same as when you're playing one of his other games, where it really is much more personal to me when I'm in the game, and I think it involves me a lot more. You know, there, man, I'm just praying I don't have a contact so I get across the ocean as quick as I can. In the submarine game, you're praying for contacts, right? I want that contact because I want a chance to sink something. Here, it's just, oh, please miss. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. So it's just relief as you go. So the drama to me wasn't there like it is in the submarine game. In the submarine game, I'm hoping I'm going to sit in this one zone for a couple turns, then I got to come back, you know, and hopefully I'm going to find a convoy along the way. So for me personally, if you gave me the two games, I'd go to the submarine game first. But that does not mean this is a bad game at all. And I'm not saying that. This is still a good game. And the subject matter is good because there's not a lot of this subject out there where you're in charge of a convoy escorting and trying to get rid of the submarines. The only thing that I found that made my videos long wasn't even that it was the wolf pack. It's that while you're trying to sink the enemy sub or drive him off, it seemed to be very difficult to sink him. I had sometimes, you know, I had 5 hits and I'd only score 2 that actually did damage. There was a lot of non-damage that goes on in your dice rolls. And, you know, part of that too is the luck of the rolls and the dice, how well they're falling that day. So sometimes that seemed to be tedious, that, you know, rolled, I get 2 hits and I don't get any actual damage, or I get one damage, nothing that was really driving the boat to be sunk. The last mission I needed one more flooding and I would have driven the U-boat to the surface, and then I had a choice. That choice would have been ramming or just shooting with my guns and sinking. At that point, I probably would have just sunk him because I didn't want to ram him with one of my ships and then have it sitting in the harbor for a month getting repaired from that. So, you know, those are choices that we didn't quite get to. It's hard to get there with the flooding, but it's a little tedious when you're trying to battle these U-boats and get them. But that being said, it's still a challenge. I by no means was sailing through this. I lost a destroyer, one of my corvettes, early on in the first or second week. One of them got taken out, and then you know, I was losing some tonnage on the ships too. So Board Game Geek has there's a lot of good conversations there about the game. There's a couple of handy tools you can download. One of them that I downloaded was the spreadsheet that I was keeping track of the tonnage, so I didn't have to do the math. It kept track of that. It kept track of the subs that I sunk, kept track of the tonnage, kept track of when the promotions were coming up. That was pretty nice. I just downloaded it, started using it just the way that it was developed. And then the last one was on this last video where they modified the player aid for hit damaging the enemy submarines, so that you had everything there. The only thing that I didn't like about it was it didn't have that little tracker for the incoming hits, but I just drew one on there and it worked great for me, because that's really handy when you're rolling and moving and trying to remember how many hits did I have. When you only have 1 hit or 2 hits, it's not a big deal. When you have 5 and you're rolling all the time, you got to remember, did I do the third one or not? So that was kind of an important little track. But like I said, there was room on it. I just added it and it worked great after that. And I like that because, again, the hit table, it was all right there together. So it worked great as far as I didn't need a separate card or looking on a separate book to see what I was doing. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed the series that I showed. I'm going to try playing the game without having to video it and see how quickly I can go through some of the missions. But actually, I really did have a good time playing this game. I hope I didn't mess it up too much for you guys. And give it a chance. I think you'll like it. All right. So, again, I'm Dave. Thanks to everybody for watching my videos. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments. They always help me with my gameplay, and I know that they help others that watch the videos and read the comments too. It's how we learn sometimes, especially being a solitaire gamer. That can be part of the hardest thing, is how do you sometimes digest the rules, and you start to play and you don't realize it seems to be working. You don't realize you did it wrong. Then somebody says, hey, you missed this, or that really doesn't come into effect till a different time period. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So then, I made adjustments as I was playing. Okay, well, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And as always, give me a thumbs up and like the video, please. That really helps the channel. And I'll see you for the next round when it comes up. All right, have a good one.